again, everybody. I'm talking to you today about Saint Anselm, who was an Archbishop of Canterbury. His feast is not during this month, but every day. There isn't a feast day for every day of the month, and so we fitted in Saint Anselm as an Archbishop of Canterbury. Well, how did it come about that an Italian monk in a French monastery should become Archbishop of Canterbury? Now, if I tell you that he was Abbot of Bec, and that's a monastery in Normandy, and that he became Archbishop of Canterbury in the year 1089, just over 30 years since that famous date, 1066, when England came under the rule of Normandy, well, then it's not so surprising, is it? Indeed, his predecessor, Lanfranc, was a monk of the same monastery, and that probably had more to do with his appointment than coming from Normandy itself. For Lanfranc was a leading European scholar of the day who had attracted Anselm in the first place, and so Anselm became a monk at Bec. After Lanfranc was the first Norman Archbishop of Canterbury, and he died, it wasn't the king who selected Anselm, but the English clergy. They wanted Anselm to succeed him, and it was 4 years before the king would agree to his appointment. And even then things went badly. There were disagreements with the king and his successor Henry I over papal authority and over Anselm's authority in the church in England, which resulted in his twice being banned from this country. Most of his first 6 years as a bishop were spent in exile on the continent. Well, eventually, with the intervention of the Pope, there came agreement that Anselm should have full control of the church in this country, but in practice it left the king in control of the selection of bishops. And that was an anomaly which would cause trouble down the years. You've only to think of Thomas of Becket, who within 100 years would be murdered in his cathedral over the same problems. And the final break was Rome, of course, under Henry VIII, again, over authority of the Pope. Well, internationally, Anselm had become well established as a writer in theology, taking part in 2 councils, one at the special request of the Pope. As Archbishop, he ensured a well-disciplined church, with his primacy over the whole church coming to be recognised throughout most of the British Isles, including Ireland. But in conclusion, I go back to his disputes with the king over his jurisdiction and think of the difficulties that Pope Francis faces with the church in China. Until recently, there has been 2 Catholic churches in China: the official Catholic Church, that's recognised by the communist regime, which controlled the church completely, and then the underground Catholic Church, loyal to Rome, with their bishops appointed by the Holy See. Well, recently there's been some agreement. Rome has approved those bishops already appointed by the government. But in future, Rome would appoint bishops provided they have been first approved by the party. Very similar to what's happened in the past. I think that's the nub of the agreement, but it's causing a good deal of controversy among those who are concerned with the future of the church in China. Nearer to home, though, where in many ways we are so privileged with, say, taking as an example both the support and pretty well full independence of our schools, There is always anxiety about the sidelining of religious opinion among those who govern, and that's come to the fore in the latest lockdown, where no consultation took place about the suspension of religious services in this recent lockdown. That's a reminder that we should not allow our politicians to ignore God's influence among the people that He has created. Well, thank you all again. God bless you, and I hope to talk to you again later about other saints later this month. Goodbye.